Okay, it's nearing the end of the year. It's time for end of year content to start. And I think what I decided I wanted to do was go through my shelves. I have about 40 odd books that I have unread on my shelves. And a lot of them have been sitting there for a while. And I think a lot of them I'm not planning on reading. I haven't felt any desire to read them, some of them for like 2 years. And others I feel like, oh, I'll get to that, I'll get to it. But I think a lot of them I'm probably just going to do on audio. And so there's no need for me to keep the thrifted mass market paperback copy or something like that. So this is an unhaul, which I've never done. And I feel like doing an unhaul when there's only 40 odd books is not going to be as fun as like some of the other videos with these massive unhauls, given that I just don't have a lot of books at the moment. Since I don't have a lot of books, I also want to talk a little bit about what my plans are for the upcoming month and kind of get a sense of what my TBR based on my shelves is going to be. So I'm going to pull them down one shelf at a time and go through them here with you, and we're going to discuss whether I'm going to put them up on Pango or whether I'm going to keep them and try to read them. So let's get to it. The first shelf is going to be pretty easy. It's most of my YA books. I don't have a lot. Let me grab one more because I think maybe we should include that with the YA. So I don't have a lot. I had like YA fantasy and sci-fi right here next to my Raptor. But I think I grabbed one from the kind of odds and ends shelf. And I think I'm not going to actually read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I picked it up because I found it at the thrift store for $2 and it was really popular at the time. Like everyone was talking about it because a new book by Holly Jackson had just come out and people were talking about that. But I genuinely think, having read some thrillers, I'm not necessarily a thriller person. They're great for like a quick read, but I'd rather just pick it up from the library if I feel like I'm going to read it than have a copy. So I'm going to see if my friend wants it for her classroom, and if she doesn't, then I will be putting this up on Pango for the same $2 I bought it for. Okay, next I have read Iron Widow, and I purchased Heavenly Tyrant. I am still going to read this one. This actually, I think I might try to prioritize this and to get it done by the end of the year is my goal. If not, this will be like a January. So we're going to put this on the TBR. So this is one on the priority options TBR, because we're going to see how I feel going into the month. So this is an option for my TBR. The next one is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I am interested in the concept of this. I find this concept fascinating of it is a world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those and even conquered death. Now scythes are the only one who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. So I do want to give this one a go, and so we're going to keep it on the shelf because I think this sounds like a very interesting YA sci-fi for me. Shadow and Bone I feel very torn about, but I have had this one on my shelf for 2 years, almost 3, and I believe it'll be 3 like next April or May, and I have not read it yet. I've read the first chapter twice in a trio chapter and decided that I am not going to continue picking it up for that book that I picked from the stack. And given that I read that first chapter and I keep not feeling the need to go back to it, I think this is going to be one that is going to be a library book. So since it was YA, my friend does middle school. I don't know. I'll have to ask her if this is one that is appropriate for her students, and if she'd like it, then she can have it. But this is also the first in a trilogy, and I just feel like it's maybe not for me at the moment. The next YA is a series that I missed because it started when I was like already 16. So I read the first book of this, read Aragon, I picked up Eldest at the thrift store, and then I picked up, what order do these go in? I think this is the third one. I picked up Brissinger, and then I picked up Inheritance. I will be continuing with these. These are going to be on my priority series to finish next year, so we are going to finish those. And then the last one I pulled off my adult shelf is Dragon Haven. I am going to finish this series. I have the audio currently from Libby, and I will be starting that on Monday. So, because I'm probably just not going to start audio. I have a lot to do. Today's Saturday. I have a lot to do Sunday. I'm probably not going to start an audiobook. So, I am looking forward to reading this. So this is a series I'm continuing. So let's put these back, and we'll get the next shelf. Okay, I have a slightly bigger stack in front of me now. So I have Green Rider by Kristen Britton. I will cover this a little bit in my wrap up, but I did read about 200 pages of this. And I just decided I wasn't enjoying it and I really wanted it to end. So I ended up DNFing it, and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and put it up on Pango because it just wasn't working for me. I may give it another try, but I can do that from the library. I was trying to make it through fantasy that kind of helped build the genre, and a lot of that is what this shelf is. And I think I'm going to go through that and see, now that I have read quite a few fantasies in the last 3 years, I kind of have a bit more feel for what I like in a fantasy, and this just wasn't doing it for me. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this one. The Princess Bride. I really like this copy. But I think I picked this up because it has, this one has the cool map in it. It has this really cool map in it, which is really cool function of a mass market paperback. I am still hoping to read this. I am going to go ahead and keep this one. I believe I'm just going to keep it. I am still going to try to get to it, but not at the end of this year. Going back even older, I have The Once and Future King, right? The Once and Future King by T.H. White. This is an old version of it, that has like the motion picture thing. This is supposed to be one of the it was one of the most popular retellings of King Arthur. This book is deceiving. This is over 600 pages. I actually read the first chapter of this and really enjoyed the writing style. And you can tell that the first part of this is very much what The Sword in the Stone is based on, and I was really kind of feeling those vibes. So this, I would like to say I was going to prioritize before the end of the year, but I just don't think I'm going to get to it. So we are going to put it on high priority for next year, which I will work on going through later this week. But for now, not for the end of the year, but I still want to read this one. Another old fantasy, Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. I have told a lot of people that I will read this one and give it a go. So we are still keeping this one. I really like this copy. I love these old mass market paperbacks with these bright colors and things. I am going to be keeping this one and hopefully giving it a go. I don't want to start any new series the end of this year, so I'm not going to be starting this one in case I do like it and want to continue the series. I have some mixed opinions from my friends, some who think I'm really going to like it and some who think I am very much not going to like it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I feel about it and if I do continue with the series. So we're going to keep this on the list, but not for this year. Speaking of not continuing series, or not starting new series, The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This one I do want to read really badly. I think this is going to hit the fantasy tropes that I really enjoy, the writing style that I enjoy. It's a slightly newer fantasy compared to some of the other ones, but definitely has more of the kind of epic fantasy vibes. This is a big book. This is a long series, and I do really want to read this. I believe this is the Silk Punk, if I remember correctly. This is the series that coined that term. I might be wrong, but this is the author that coined that term. So I am going to be keeping this one. But a long series that I am going to also not start at the end of this year, and probably not, is The Way of Kings. And I know everyone really loves these books, and so I know it's going to be really off-putting for me to say this, but I am not going to read this. If I do, I will be getting it from the library, but we are going to take it off the shelf and take it off of priority. So this gets a huge book off of my TBR and a huge book off my shelf, and it will just go up on Pango. I think I paid $1 for it. It'll go up on Pango for $1, because it's just a mass market paperback. So either it'll go back to the thrift store where I bought it. Another long-running series that is going to upset people. I am not going to finish The Wheel of Time. I did read this book a long time ago. I think I read about half of it. I think I read about 400 pages of it when I was in high school, and I just decided that it was not for me. I was so irritated with this author's writing style, and I thought maybe now that I've done some more fantasy, I would give it a re-go, but I think if I do, I'm going to redo it on audio, because audio for epic fantasy with lots of details and stuff really works well for me, but reading it physically, my mind tends to wander, and I have to go back and reread things, but for some reason I can listen to it, especially on long car rides. So I may try this next year, but I really think that this is not my style of fantasy, unfortunately, and it just won't work for me. That being said, I currently have all of the mass market paperbacks for the Game of Thrones, or Song of Ice and Fire. Song of Ice and Fire is the series. Game of Thrones is the first book. I have read the first book, and I actually quite enjoy his writing style. It took me a little while to get into, and it took me a while to finish it, but I was also working 40 hours a week and going to college full time, and also had a young dog. And we did training classes 3 days a week just to keep him busy, and I was doing a ton of things, and so I was not very good at focusing. But this is a series I would like to read. Again, I am not starting a new series before the end of the year. So this I will keep and will go on the list for next year. I have managed to find all of the mass market paperbacks at my local thrift store, and so I will be finishing this one next year. Okay, let me set these aside because now we're getting into the real classics. Two Towers. I will be finishing this. You can tell I paid $1 for it. I will be finishing this series, not this year, but I will be finishing this. I may do it audio, but I still would like to have a physical copy to go and look things up later. This is one of those where I think having a physical and an audio is going to help me out in the long run. So I will be keeping this one until I find a better physical copy that I can probably write in markup. So this one for now is totally fine for me to write in. So, and on that note, I will also be keeping the Silmarillion, which I also picked up at the same thrift store for $4. And so I will be reading this one, but again, not before the end of the year. I want to next year kind of go through my TBR in categories and be like, this month we are looking at classic fantasies, and pick like 3 or 4 classic fantasies that I'm going to read off my shelf, and kind of do things that way by kind of following the idea that was going around a little while ago of like curriculums for yourself, and do it that way. So those are what I'm going to be keeping and what I'm going to be getting rid of, and I'm going to go grab the next shelf. Okay, continuing with fantasy, Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. I am going to finish this. This is actually going to be on priority for this month. This will be finished. I really want to read this one, so this is not going anywhere. The Lies of Lamora, I have not read this one yet either, and I do want to go ahead and continue with this one, so I will be keeping it. I probably, like I said, I am not starting new series before the end of the year, so I will not be reading this one until next year. This is one that I read, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. I have a lot of views and opinions on that video, and yeah, I am not going to keep this copy. It's cool, but it's just taking up space on my shelf. A chunker. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, I believe is how you say it. This one is over, it's like 1,200, it's 1,000 pages. It's 1,000 pages. I will be keeping this one. I do want to read this one, but not right now. So we are going to put this aside. This will be read. It just won't be read in December. 2 Ursula K. Le Guin's. This one I actually started and I do want to finish. I may try to prioritize this one this month, but we will see. And the 4 Ways to Forgiveness. This is a series of short stories, I believe. I think there are a few short stories in here. Yes, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 short stories in here. So this I might try to read this month, and then maybe start the new year with finishing this one. We'll see how I feel. I think once I go through all of these, I should pick a couple things. The Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky will stay. I do want to read this one. I did read the first chapter and enjoyed it. Okay, so I have Ancillary Justice and Ancillary Mercy. I don't know, I have the first and third book. I just have these. So again, not starting new series this year, but I do want to try and read these next year as getting into more sci-fi. So I think maybe we'll hold off on the sci-fi until January, and maybe we'll start January with some sci-fi and just knock these out. So that is this shelf. Okay, I have more stacks in front of me. This is the last shelf, technically. So I have a nonfiction, Call Them By Their True Names. I may try to give this a go. This is only like 100 pages of nonfiction. This is basically about how we change the names of things when we're discussing with people to try to like not call out inequalities and injustices and stuff. So this is basically just discussing that. Secret History by Donna Tartt. I am going to give this a try. So we're going to keep this one. I'm going to give it a try. We're going to keep it. I just haven't got around to it yet. Who to FRU and Persepolis. These are going to be on my December TBR. We're going to get through these. So these are December TBR. Put them there. I am going to read them. I'm going to get through them. The Maiden and Her Monster, December TBR. I got this on a giveaway, and so this is an arc that I got on a giveaway on Goodreads. I'm going to read this month. This is a priority. I'm going to read it. This copy of The Great Gatsby I picked up because I was going to reread it, and it is a print-on-demand weird copy. So we're just gonna donate this. It's just gonna go away. I don't like it. It's a weird size. And I grabbed it for $1 on Amazon because I was like, it's a classic, whatever, just grab it for $1. And it is not good. So we're just gonna get rid of it. But let's talk about classics. I picked up this copy of Wuthering Heights because of all the hype around everything, and I thought it was a pretty copy. And I want to read this, but not right now. So this is going to stay. I think all the rest of these are probably going to stay because of what they are like, but let's go through them. I have this really cool copy of Hamlet that is going to stay, and if I feel motivated, I may pick this up in December, but we'll see, because I might just try to knock off a bunch of things off my TBR. Midsummer Night Dream, also may pick it up in December. We'll see. I'm going to think about these things and give you my TBR on Monday. So, Midsummer Night Dream. I have The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, keeping that. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, I'm keeping that. I'm sinking. Where the Red Fern Grows. I read this in junior high or elementary, I think, and I don't remember, but it's not very long, and I feel like emotionally destroying myself at some point again soon, so I will go ahead and read this. I feel like I read it, either that or I had just talked about a lot of the other kids who did read it with them. So, keeping this one. The rest of this stack is things I picked up for nostalgia, but I just want to show them to you, and I want to go through and take the stickers off at some point. So I picked up this really cool illustrated Black Stallion copy. I think it's illustrated. Yeah, and it's got a bunch of kids' names in it, but I used to love this book, and so I picked it up. I saw it at the Goodwill or the thrift store, and it just has lovely illustrations, and so I picked it up for nostalgia, which also led me to pick up the Black Stallion in Flame, because this was one of my favorite ones, and I don't remember why, but I remember I read this book so many times. Like, I think I wore out the library copy, so I picked it up just for nostalgia, which is also why I picked up King of the Wind, which is my favorite Margaret Henry book. I had Arabian horses as a kid, and this is the history of the Arabian horse, essentially. And I loved Misty of Chincoteague, and I had this one at the thrift store, and Justin Morgan Had a Horse, and Bridie of the Grand Canyon. These were some of my favorite Margaret Henrys, and I saw them at the thrift store. These are the books that I started reading with. These were the first chapter books that I read as a kid, were the Margaret Henry books. I was a horse girl. I probably said that before. And so I picked them all up when I see them. And so these are just going to stay. At some point I will take the stickers off of them. But for now they're going to stay. So let me double check, or let me put these things away, and then we will make the stack that we're getting rid of and count how many we're keeping. Okay, so I have 29 unread books. I have a few more to show you that I discovered as I was going through that were shoved in random shelves. I do have The Willful Princess and The Piebald Prince that I need to read. And then I have some Stephen King's. So I have his nonfiction, Danse Macabre. I have not read it yet. Definitely not this year, but I do want to at some point. But this is my really old, I carried it everywhere for a while. It got stuff spilled on it copy. I've had that one for a long time. And then I have You Like It Darker that I have not read yet either. So 29 physical unread books. Let's go through what I'm getting rid of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm unhauling 7 books out of everything that I own. So that is my owned TBR priority books, and I will go through them, and on Monday I will check in with you and we'll discuss what my TBR is going to be. So I'll see you soon with something else.